Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us. You talk about a contrast there. Back in 1993, then Joe Biden wanted people, criminals off the streets, and now the White House won't even talk about far-left prosecutors putting criminals back on the streets. I mean, that's a headline.
Sure, it's definitely a different Joe Biden, but look at what they're doing even in the House of Representatives. You have Nancy Pelosi, who tried to sneak in the bail reform, like the disastrous one that was passed in my home state of New York, in the COVID relief package. And then they tried to push legislation that would strip our police of qualified immunity protections. It would actually take away resources that are given from the federal government to NYPD and other law enforcement entities. I think we need the president to take a strong stand and say enough is enough. We saw it with President Trump. And remember when President Trump got out there and said, we're going to federally go after those individuals who destroy monuments and destroy federal buildings. Guess what happened? It stopped. We need the president to take a strong stand here against the looting, against the all the type of violence that we're seeing and the crimes that we're seeing in cities like mine, because the local guys aren't doing it.
Yeah, you talk about, headlines. Here's a few going back 2.5 years. This is USA Today, June of this year. For criminal justice reform to work, Biden must dismantle damage done by 1994 crime bill. The Guardian, October 2020. Things have changed. Can Biden overcome the racist legacy of the crime bill he backed? The Washington Post, May of 2019. Joe Biden's defense of the 1994 crime bill's role in mass incarcerations. That's the media talking about, and pushing for zero consequences.
Yeah, look, when you come to New York City and you read the newspaper, you constantly read about individuals who have very lengthy rap sheets and are being repeatedly released back onto our streets. They're not being prosecuted, and you have bad judges, by the way, who are just letting them go. In fact, today we had someone who's not even a citizen of this country, but of another country, who was caught with drug trafficking, and he was just released back onto the street instead of working with ICE, instead of working with Department of Homeland Security to deport them. So it's a mixture of what's happening at the local level, but also President Biden could help secure our borders, stop letting those who are convicted criminals previously deported re-enter. DEA can be tasked to go after the people who are selling fentanyl to our children, give them more resources to do their job. But more than anything right now, he has the ability to use that bully pulpit to call out those Democratic mayors and governors who are making the people of this country less safe.
Yeah, and I got to go, but you talk about the bully pulpit. How do you force the issue, though? How does Congress force the issue? Because, in 1993, he was talking about the victims, right? We need to look at the victims, and now all of a sudden the victims are forgotten and it's all about the criminals.
Look, we repeatedly call him out. In fact, when I go on the floor, I use my bully pulpit to say, this is what New York has done. Don't implement those same policies as the federal level. And that's how we've been able to push back on some of the anti-policing legislation. We just got to keep doing it. Can't pass legislation until we take back the House, but that day will come.
Congresswoman Malliotakis, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Seth.
Okay, Trace, new numbers.